Everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, Mark, like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
That was none other than I Fought the Law. And you are listening to WDOM Providence College. No, I'm kidding around. This is Douglas Viviani, and Everything Old is New Again. That reminds me of back in the 80s of the days when I was on college radio in the basement at Providence College. I'm here with the music historian himself, David Cohen.
Oh, yes, Doug. Good to see you and hear your voice.
Absolutely, same. And let me ask you a question. Who performed that version of I Fought the Law?
Well, it sounded like we were hearing the version popularized by The Clash.
Correct, in the 80s. Now, the question is, who wrote that song? This will take us down the path of what we're going to do this week.
Aha. Bobby Fuller, because he had a smash hit with it, like in the mid-'60s.
And you would be wrong, sir. I played that because that song was written by none other than Sonny Curtis, who wrote some of the music with Buddy Holly and the Crickets. And thereafter, that was in the 50s. Thereafter,
he wrote the Mary Tyler Moore theme.
Exactly, in the 70s. And what are we going to do today, then, do you think?
The best famous sitcom
stories
songs of all time?
Yeah, well, we're going to do... We've done that. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do stories... It was years ago. Stories behind TV theme songs.
I see.
And the story that I'm trying to lead up to is that's interesting because right then and there, Sonny Curtis created a name for himself with a would you say Buddy Holly is legendary? Or at least Hall of Famer? Yes. So, and the Crickets goes along with them, right?
Very influential.
So that being the case, it's interesting and odd that he went ahead and wrote. Well, let's just listen. Hang on, I want to play for you the Buddy Holly and the Crickets version because I think it's interesting to juxtapose the two.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard it.
It's the what? You don't recognize that?
It didn't come out like anything on my side. It was all garbled.
Oh, okay. Let's hope that's not the case for the listening audience. It worked over here, but the point is that that was like the real genesis beginnings of some rock and roll there. Now, you're going to argue with me about that and say the Crickets were more of a country band?
Oh, no. They were part of the beginning of rock and roll, but when the Crickets were playing, I mean, rock and roll didn't really exist. They were part of the beginning. So the musicians were mostly like more country music musicians just playing a different kind of music.
Right. Isn't that interesting? And it developed from there, rock and roll. Yeah. We'll get into that in another show, but right now let's then pivot a little bit to when Sonny Curtis moved on, because, of course, Buddy Holly passed away, and he had to do other things with his life, and he wrote this interesting tune.
How will you make it on your own? This world is awfully big. Girl, this time you're all alone, but it's time...
And now, of course, where's that from? David Cohen?
Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Now, that was the first one. If you recognize the words are a little bit different there, I know you have to go back here and really be a fan of the show, but You Might Just Make It After All is that version. Do you remember that? And then it...
Well, she hadn't made it yet.
Right, and then later on, we heard this.
Why don't you say it? You might just make it after all. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can never tell, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all.
So I see what I did there. I juxtaposed the old and the new. That's what everything old is new again is all about. 4 years it took. 4 years into that show, it took for them to finally, in season 4, I guess it was 3 years, to change the theme song to say you're not, you might just make it all. You're going to make it after all.
He said you might just make it.
Yeah.
You might just, right? Wasn't it?
That was the beginning.
You might just make it. Yeah.
And then they changed it to
and then
you're
it was
going
you're
to.
gonna make it.
How about that? Is that of interest at all? Does it mean anything to you? No.
It's such a subtle difference. I'm not sure why they even bothered, but yeah.
I think she probably had something to do with that. And I think it's so interesting because, we've interviewed people and David Pollack we interviewed, and he was a writer of the Dick Van Dyke Show, the second incarnation of the Dick Van Dyke Show. Let me get this straight. Of Don Knotts. Don Knotts had a show that was up against Mary Tyler Moore, and they were like, hey, this is going to be easy because Mary Tyler Moore was not the comedy person in Dick Van Dyke Show. She was the wife, and she was good and all that, but she's not going to be that successful with this brand new show, Mary Tyler Moore Show. And we have Don Knotts, who is an icon and won 5 Emmys and all this. He's going to be the greatest thing in the world. We're going to have a great time with this. Don Knotts' show lasted 1 year. Mary Tyler Moore, of course, is in the Television Hall of Fame.
Yeah, very interesting.
You have a lot to say about it, so it just shows how interesting that is.
I have nothing to add.
I just said it so beautifully, right? How about this one? A kid that was 14 years old wrote this song. I want to see if you can recognize it first. We've had a gentleman from this show on our airwaves, a legendary gentleman. Here we go. Okay, you get the gist of it.
Suicide is painless, and that's a theme for MASH, of course.
Yes, written by the 14-year-old son
of some famous person, right?
Somebody famous that was trying to write some songs and couldn't get it going. And I just thought it was very interesting. I, of course, can't find that information, so we're really starting off on a real good note here to lead you along. How about we do this, a contest? If you know who wrote that song and whose son he was, email us at oldnewagain at AOL.com. That's oldnewagain at AOL.com, and we will send you back some kind of a novelty from Everything Old is New Again, some printed material, maybe a pen, maybe something. We have a couple of nice little novelties we could send back to you. How about that?
That David sounds good. Can I enter? You
can. Do you have the answer? You probably could Google it up at Storm right now. Easy. No?
You'd think I would have been doing that during your little interstitial there, but I have not been Googling it now.
All right, so you're shot in the dark.
We'll come back. Well, in the next segment, we'll have an answer.
Right, we will come back. And we're going to have a quiz a little later on. I'm going to quiz David Cohen in Section 3. I'm going to play...
I got it.
Go ahead. What is it?
It was Robert Altman's son, Mike Altman. Robert Altman, the famous movie director. So his son wrote it.
At 14.
And,
what did he do thereafter? That's the question. Like, you write that.
Do you have to do anything after that?
I guess you don't. But do you?
Really don't.
Like, what happens when you peak at 14 years old? That's trouble.
Apparently, according to this article I'm reading, he ended up making more than $1 million, according to his dad, who, Robert Altman actually, he directed the movie MASH.
Right.
I forgot to mention that as well. And Robert Altman, you know how much he was paid for directing MASH?
No.
I find this hard to believe. $75,000.
Wow. Back in 1970, like 4 or something, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Early 70s.
Things have changed quite a bit. David Cohen, have you had any thoughts as to
No.
preparing any kind of, like, I'm wondering about theme songs now. You see these shows and they don't describe what's going to happen on the show ever. They're really short and there's really nothing to it. Do you think we should go back to the time of describing how this show was developed? How did the genie come out of the bottle and how did Major Nelson find her and that kind of stuff? Do we need to define that?
I think it would be great, but I don't think they're going to do it because it's not cost effective. It's very expensive to hire a writer and produce a song or buy the rights to an existing song. And that's why they don't do it.
And I think also, like, these sitcoms, if you really think about it, they're 22 minutes long. They're a half-hour show. We got 8 minutes of commercials. So now you're going to take a minute away from the show. Believe it or not, that adds up to a lot. And another, like, half a minute at the end of the show. If you can, like, they don't do ending music either anymore, do they?
No, not really.
I mean, it's like it's on and off in 5 seconds.
I mean, it could be argued that sometimes the song is better than the sitcom itself. So even though you're allocating a minute to the song, that might be the best part of the whole show.
How about that? Best part of our show is yet to come, obviously. We'll be back right after this, and everything old is new again.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Our first show, nominated for Best Musical, $1 Million Quartet, is inspired by the famed recording session that brought together rock and roll icons Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins for the first and only time. It's also the story of Sam Phillips, the man who discovered them and earned the name, the father of rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of $1 Million Quartet. Come on.
All right, we're back here on Everything Old is New Again, talking all things TV theme songs. David Cohen, first, did you ever see $1 Million Quartet? And it's a really cool show about a real event that occurred where all those characters got together. And why do I play that? Well, because one of those characters of the four in $1 Million Quartet was Bill Haley. Remember him?
Of course.
And he was a piano player who was like really talented, nutso, and created this song. What TV theme song or TV show is this theme song from?
Rock, we're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on, join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes one. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
That's Bill Haley, I know that.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, it's Happy Days.
There you go. But you know what? I'm going to bet you that some people don't recognize that for Happy Days.
It's sad because we're bringing it up in a sitcom because we're talking about sitcoms, but Bill Haley and the Comets were one of the pioneers of rock and roll, and that song was one of the seminal rock and roll hits.
Exactly.
It just so happened to be used for the Happy Days thing,
and so
but it certainly wasn't written for that purpose.
Right. Which do you think it's really known for today? If you were to play it for a 30-year-old, let's say, even anybody under 30.
No, I don't know if they'd associate it with Happy Days.
I don't know if they'd associate it with anything. Like, is it known?
They would know it. They would know it, I think, because it's a rock and roll song.
Well, they should know
if that's what you were trying to say.
I'm trying to say that. Now, a couple of years later, another one of these was what happened here. If you remember Happy Days, they changed whatever into another song that they created, and it doesn't look like David Cohen likes this one.
Happy days, the weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days are
Now, why did they change that? Any idea, David Cohen?
I don't know. Do you know?
They did it for royalty's sake, and there were studio musicians that played that song, that created that song, that played on that song, that later on contemporaneously played as the Partridge Family.
Yes, that's true.
The musicians that was basically played by the Partridge Family. Not sung by them.
The Partridge Family came first, but yes.
Yes.
That's right.
How interesting is that? I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it was. It is interesting. It is.
And if you're, we're really going back here. This is really like a nostalgia kind of a show. Like if you're not
and
up
I
on
think
this,
that song became a hit on its own.
It did.
Yeah.
But if you're not up on this stuff, you don't know what the heck we're talking about. Do you remember the Lovin' Spoonfuls?
the magic and the free your soul, but it's like trying to tell a stranger about a rock and roll. Believe in magic, don't bother to choose if it's jug band music or rhythm and blues. Just go and listen.
How talented is that guy that wrote that
John
song?
Sebastian, Lovin' Spoonful, I think is great. I think he's still here, right? He's still around.
We should try to get him on the show. No?
Great song. Oh, are you kidding? That
He
would be
probably
amazing.
would be a great, because I don't know, if you figure he's doing anything now, I'm not putting him down, but I don't know that he's active right now.
He could be. He might be. But, yeah, you chose that song to play from Lovin' Spoonful, but they also had a lot of other hits like Hot Town, Summer in the City.
Yes.
And I know where you're going with this because he also wrote and sang the theme song for a very popular sitcom.
How's that for a segue? Perfect.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about.
Now, some of these songs, I have to tell you, and you'll speak about this song in a moment. I just want to interrupt you to just say that what we've played, many of them, I would want to play anyway, watching the TV show or not.
That song became a hit on its own, like the Happy Days theme.
Yep.
Written by and performed by John Sebastian for the sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter. And just one of the interesting stories about that is initially I think he had sat down and tried to write a song for the show, but he couldn't find a word that adequately rhymed with Kotter and decided ultimately, screw it, he'll just write his own lyrics and came up with Welcome Back. And because he named the song Welcome Back, the title of the sitcom was changed to Welcome Back, Kotter.
What was it supposed to be? Was it going to be Kotter? Is that what
it was? Something like Kotter, yeah, something simple like that.
Isn't that interesting? Now, what? Let me ask you this, and I got a little idea of this, but what inspires someone that has John Sebastian? Let's face it, had success, had Money in the Bank, had a tremendous career with the Lovin' Spoonfuls and thereafter, right? I mean, he wrote at least 5 songs that are in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Recognize. What inspires someone like that, do you think, and we don't know the answer to this question, but I'm just going to throw it out there, to listen to some producer say, hey, we have a sitcom coming up, write us a song for that? I mean, and would it happen today?
Money.
I would guess so.
Money.
But I'm trying to, like, he put his best work into that. Like, that was a really great song. I don't know how it works. If he thought, all right, this is a work made for hire. I am creating this work for this TV show. I'm giving it to them. He probably got very little in the way of royalties for that song. The way it works.
That part I don't know, but
that's the way it does work. So you worked. So I'm just interrupt for a minute because the thought is, he knows this stuff. He knows publishing and all that, and he's just doing this for a TV show. We really got to ask him if we can ever get him on. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious why you would. That's like, hey, have Paul McCartney come and do the theme for Friends.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put John Sebastian.
I know, I'm exaggerating, but still.
But I think that just because he was with Lovin' Spoonful and for a short period of time they had a lot of hits and then they broke up because I think of creative differences, but that doesn't mean that he was sitting on a load of money at the time necessarily. Okay. So this could have come in handy. Also, if a sitcom is popular and it's your voice and your theme song introducing it every night, it's great publicity as well. So even though the financial incentive may or may not be there, I think that the buzz about you as a musician certainly, gets promoted through the show.
But then I wonder, we should have looked this up. What did he do after Kotter? Did he have any hits after Kotter? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
I think that's sort of interesting too. That he built himself up recognition-wise from that song, and then didn't really ride it into the sunset. With another album.
I'm going to look that up now. Now you've got me interested. But I think more importantly, we should try to get him on the show.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I may give that a shot. We've had a lot of guests this year. Got a couple more guests coming up. We're trying to cut down on the guests and have more of David and I. But we are getting ideas, and there are people that are knocking on the door. And by the way, young Peter Weller will be back. What do we call him? The most interesting man in the world, RoboCop himself.
Yes.
And I want to ask you a question. Talk about theme songs, and we'll get off the path here for a moment. There are 3 Kentucky Fried Chicken commercials that someone is dressed up as RoboCop, and it sounds like his voice. And he's doing. He did them. Do we inquire about that of Peter Weller?
I think we have to.
It's not embarrassing, is it? I mean, he did it.
Well, if he did it, why would it be embarrassing? I mean, if he look, he's an honest guy. He'll tell us. He'll talk for 15 minutes about why he did it and what the experience was like, and with everything else that we know of about him, it's going to be incredibly interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, because they're funny and they're really cool. And I have a clip of all of them, so I will do that. But
maybe just surprise them with it. Just start playing and say, is this you?
That's what I want to do. But my it's just I'm trepidatious because I don't want it to be his 12th and last appearance on Everything Old.
Well, you can ask him beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's not really a surprise, but say, hey, was this you? And if he says yes, it was. Then he says, okay, that might pop up sporadically during the interview.
Right.
I think he'd be cool with that.
He's
an actor. He can feign surprise,
Exactly. I'm going to just, what I'll do is when I do arrange with his people, believe it or not. So, well, it's believable. I shouldn't say that. And so I will ask his person, I think I'll talk to his manager basically. Hey, listen, we plan on playing this, and is he okay with that? And if not, please let me know. We don't want to offend. No, just do it that way.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Probably the best way to do it.
Now, would you be doing that, or would your people be reaching out to his people?
My people are riding tricycles around the block right now. An 8-year-old and a 11-year-old. Actually, they're on to
your kids.
They're my kids.
Are your people.
That's what I got for people. We'll be back. No, wait a minute. We have another a minute and a quarter here.
We got a lot of time.
Let's get one more in here. What about this?
Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again. Didn't need no welfare state.
Everybody pulled his weight.
G.R.O. LaSalle ran great.
Now, do you know what they're saying there?
Well, yeah, only because it was they had to re-record it and enunciate it clearly.
Now, was that the clear one? Did I play the clear one? I guess I think I did.
No, you did not play the clear one.
Okay, here's the clear one. Let's see if we just, for everybody else, play along with us a little bit here. This is the way he talks. Oh, that's some voice, huh? Wow. Oh, there you go.
They were...
Now, I think unique for the only time that the stars of the show sang the theme song.
Could be. But just to be clear, in case there is someone out there, I doubt it, who doesn't know what we're talking about, the Buick LaSalle is the car they were talking about. GR Old LaSalle ran great. Right. And when they sang it in earlier versions of the theme song, people wrote in.
Right.
Complaining it wasn't clear what were they singing. So they re-recorded it and enunciated it.
And of course, All in the Family. We'll be back right after this. Everything Old's New Again.
All in the Family was recorded on tape before a live audience.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything Old is New Again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way.
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. That was the Rembrandts playing the theme to Friends. One of, I would say, the last times a band actually played a theme song for a TV show. David Cohen.
As opposed to exactly what?
Well, I don't see anyone really doing any theme songs anymore, so I guess that's
you mean the fact that sitcom theme songs just don't exist?
Yeah, it's one of the last ones that you'll know from what it is and what TV show. And
Big Bang Theory, that people know that.
All right, I'm going to play a quiz. Let's get to it. Boringsville. Here we go. I'm going to play you theme songs for TV shows with no words. This way you make it a little bit harder. No words. Let's see how many of these you know. David Cohen, you're a music historian. Does that bleed over into television? I don't know. And I know the first one.
The music history either.
I know this one you're not going to get. I will bank on it.
Okay.
But I will play it anyway. So here we go. Let's try this one. Play along with us, and Everything Old is New Again. Here comes the theme, the real theme. That should give it away if you know.
But it's not a sitcom.
No, it's TV shows. Did I say sitcom? TV shows.
Oh. Yeah, I know.
You do know?
Yeah. Oh, I've heard it a million times.
And it is?
I mean, to connect it to a specific show is another story.
Oh, okay. Well, that now is on Hallmark Channel. Another thing that we should look into and try to get some guests from, because that station is blowing up. Have you noticed this? The Hallmark Channel?
Just the Christmas movies.
And they've got original original mystery shows now, series, and they've got original other drama shows, and a lot, like 4 channels. Anyway, so that's from.
But it's like a detective show.
That's the NBC Mystery Movie Sunday nights. They had 4 of them: Columbo, Banachek.
Okay, I was right.
McMillan and Wife, and who was the 4th?
I don't know.
Oh boy! Wow. Okay. Well, how about this one? Let me know if you know what this is.
But do you know what this is Alfred Hitchcock. But you threw me a curve because this show is supposed to be about sitcom music.
No, it's not. It's TV shows. It doesn't have to be sitcoms. Any TV show. The theme song this is a theme song right now unto itself. This section is separate from the rest of the show. We're doing a quiz to get David Cohen on the spot, see how much he knows. Theme songs of all ilk that were on television. What was that?
Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay. How about this one?
X-Files.
Yes, good. How about this one? You're going strong. You got to know that.
Now.
What's
Twilight
that?
Zone. The Twilight Zone.
All right. How about this one? Don't shake your head.
It's like kindergarten stuff.
The
Andy Griffith show.
All right, good. All right, let's keep going. Let's.
St. Elsewhere.
Whoa!
It's one of my favorite shows.
How did you mine too? From back that was the mid '80s, I would say.
Oh, it was a great show.
Yeah, and it had a lot of it had Denzel Washington, a lot of people on there. Howie Mandel.
Oh yeah, it became big stars.
Yeah, really something. Okay, how about this one? A favorite of mine, but I don't know that you're going to get it. It's a real '80s sounding. S&S, Simon and
Starsky, Simon and
Simon and Simon. No,
Simon.
Never heard of that show?
I have, yes.
All right, how about this
I
one?
can't say I remember that theme song.
You got to know this. What is that one?
Seinfeld?
Yes, that we generally don't want to play any more than that. All right, here's one you may not know. Let's go for this.
Sanford and Son.
Oh, nice! Pulling it out of nowhere, this kid. All right, let's try this one. You'll know this. What is that?
Oh, Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes. All right, here's one.
Dragnet?
Yes. Here's one. Another one. I'm just going to go strong here and see if we can.
Get smart.
Wow. All right, here's another. You're going to get this. That's not it. Here we go.
Hawaii Five-0.
Okay, I only have a couple more. It's a cop show.
Oh, Hill Street Blues.
Good. All right, I got like 2, 3 more. Here we go. Oh, what's this one?
Law and Order.
Show is on forever. Here's one. They did remade this show.
Is that the one with the car?
Yeah, sort of. In Hawaii. Magnum P.I.
Yeah, right, with the car. Magnum P.I. Yeah.
Okay, I only have like 2 more. Here we go. We got, this is going to be tough. This is 1980s.
Miami Vice.
Sure is. Wow, is that loud, huh? Okay. And what else do I have? I have, maybe you'll get this one. Modern Family's got that. And, ooh, here's one. I don't know if you get this. Game of Thrones. Boy, this kid he watches a lot of TV, you can notice. That's why he's part of the show, for sure.
It's very sad.
Oh, you don't know this one? This goes back to the 50s and 60s.
Don't tell me.
Now you'll get it when I start playing. Oh, it's the quintessential theme.
It's the 100 Stories in the Naked City.
Quintessential theme for a lawyer.
Perry Mason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you watch those shows? Do you ever watch Perry Mason?
No, I only know it from the theme song.
I
never
hated
actually
it as a
watched Perry.
kid, but I got to tell you, it holds up. If you watch
Really?
it now, you get a kick out of it. It's not bad.
Raymond Burr, huh?
Yeah. All right, you get two more. Here we go. You got to get this one.
Yeah. The movie, the series that became a movie with Tom Cruise. Mission Impossible.
Yes. Now, did your dad do this? This was on, I guess it was reruns, I'm going to say now, in the late 60s. No, probably it must have been mid-70s. And it was on, like, Saturday at, like, 5. My dad would come home from work, and he'd tune this in, and he would, this is the one show he would say to us, be quiet. If we don't hear the beginning and see the beginning of this show, we will never be able to follow what's going on in this episode. And he was so right, because if the kids were fooling around and you missed like the first 5 minutes, what the mission was, you're done. You don't know what's going on because there's so many twists and turns, right? You get all mixed up. That's another show that, if you're looking for something, an old show to kind of binge, that's not a bad one, right?
Really? You'd binge Mission Impossible?
I have all of them. I have binged it years ago. I really enjoyed it. I thought it wears on you after a while. It grows on you. And, of course, Leonard Nimoy came on board for a season or two as well.
Oh, there you go. That iced it for you.
It's this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great one. A great theme. Not such a great show. It's the last one I got. Here we go. How about that? You gotta get it now. No? Come on, the last one, you gotta get it. This is the greatest. Oh, good. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is it? Four initials. Starting with an S. Close. SWAT. Do you never saw that show?
Starts with a what?
4 initials. SWAT.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
You were not a big SWAT. I think it was only on for like 2 years.
Times.
What a great song. Now, most of them 70s and 60s and 80s. Nothing really, a couple there recent ones, but not too much. I like that Game of Thrones went to it, where you had a recognizable theme for that show, right?
Well, most, okay, so we're not talking about sitcoms so much anymore, but most, dramas or sci-fi, fantasy, they do actually have theme songs to them.
Right. Just songs, though, not words anymore. Or do you think they have, like Game of Thrones has no words?
No, it's usually just, some orchestration.
Right.
Right. No lyrics.
But recognizable. That Game of Thrones one is very recognizable, of course.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I could hear that. You could throw that on. Like, kids could be playing that in high school in a band, an orchestra. No, the Game of Thrones? Yes. Or am I wrong to say that?
They could. No, they could.
And I'm hesitating because I'm trying to find it.
They could play it during a college basketball game as like a pep song, or it's something to psych out the other team.
Like Here We Come. Here come the dragons, something like that.
Yeah.
If that was the theme. Here come the Providence College Dragons.
University of Wisconsin Dragons.
We'll be back right after this. Everything old is new again.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
We're back.
With Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Thank you. Hello.
The captain is brave, he's a fearless man, and Gilligan helps him all that he can. The wheel she break and lose all control. SS me not do the rock and roll. The sea is now calm and the weather grand.
Listen to this.
Where is the minnow upon the sand? What happened now will bring you a smile. The adventures of Gilligan and the skipper and the millionaire and Mrs. Millionaire and the other tourists on Gilligan's Isle.
How about that? Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. This is Douglas Viviani with David Cohen. I'm going to go quickly there because I want to get to that song I guarantee you've never heard before. David Cohen?
I have never heard it.
That is the original theme from the pilot of Gilligan's Island.
Wow.
Now, was that bizarre?
It was it was definitely more of a Calypso Island feel to it.
Yes.
It wasn't a bad song.
But then when he starts talking at the end, I'm the skipper, and, this one,
Well, they kind of, in the song they ultimately went with, they do go through the roster, too.
That's what I was going to say. You could hear the underling, the planning, the precursor, of this.
The ships aground on the shore.
Now, this is weird. This one. Listen to this. There's something odd about this one.
Gilligan, the skipper too, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, and the rest are here on Gilligan's Island.
All right. So what's odd about that one, David Cohen?
Well, they say "and the rest."
Right.
The lyrics were later changed to actually mention the doctor and Marianne.
There we go. I'll let you talk. I'll let you swallow hot.
With Gilligan, the skipper too, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, the professor and
there you go.
Here on Gilligan's Island.
They finally made it.
Which I never understood because, and the rest implies there are, literally 10 or 15 other people that they just couldn't go into all the... There were two. They just had to mention another two.
And think about it. And the rest...
By the time you sing "and the rest," you could say the professor and Marianne and maybe another second. So I never understood the logic behind it.
The professor and Marianne. Marianne's really one word. So that's 4 words, and the rest are 3 words. You saved 1 word.
Exactly.
And Marianne refuses to answer our inquiry to come on this show.
I wonder why.
I don't understand.
Are you referring to her as Dear and the Rest?
Maybe
I think I was reading some article about how that's how she and what's his name, Robert Johnson, whoever played the professor, they still refer to each other kiddingly as the rest.
Well, he's passed away now, but they did for all those years.
They did while he was alive, yes.
So they were aware of it. How should I approach her? Why? And would we even want her on the show at this point? I don't know. I just think for history purposes, it would be a lot of fun to have her on.
It would be great to have her, but... I mean, what are you going to do?
Son of a gun. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. No,
Why
really,
not
come
us?
on the show. All right, so
Why
here we
not
go.
Us?
Come on. How about this one? It's a little something. I have 2 clips of this, of the Partridge Family.
Come on now and meet everybody and hear us singing.
This is from their pilot, 1970.
Nothing better than being together when we're singing.
So when we're singing, what they say.
5 of us and Mom working all day. We knew we could help her if our music would pay. Daddy got Reuben to sell our song, and it really came together when Mom sang along.
So they really explained everything in that one. Wasn't that good? I mean,
you didn't even have to watch the show.
You shouldn't have, because the best part was the theme. That's for sure.
I like that show.
That was okay.
Well, it was based on an actual real-life family musical group, the Cowsills, who were fairly successful in their time. But they quickly changed that song, which I'm sure you will lead into the next segment with.
We had a dream, we go traveling together. We spread a little love and we'll keep moving on. Something always happens whenever we're together. We get a happy feeling when we're singing a song.
Here's the big change.
Traveling along, there's a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy.
That's the version I think everybody remembers. Come on, get happy, if you remember it
Yes.
all those years ago.
That's right.
Right? So you used to watch that show religiously, or no, or what? I mean, well, who did you envision? I bet you thought of yourself as Danny.
When this show was popular, I guess in reruns at that point, I was in 4th grade, and there was a girl in my class. Every Friday, we'd have like a little talent show in the class, and she always she wrote little Partridge Family sketches, original compositions, and it would result in singing at the end. And she always cast me as Keith Partridge.
How about that?
Believe it or not.
Wow. And you enjoyed it.
Of course, I loved it.
Who played the drums?
The fact that anyone would consider me looking like Keith Partridge. Sure, why not?
And what a phenomenon he was back in the day, huh?
David Cassidy, he sure was.
Oh, man. Wow, that's some story. Anyway, and then...
But didn't they, maybe I'm wrong. They didn't. Yeah. Did they ever change the opening theme song?
Yes, that was it. You heard the pilot, and that was the first year, and the second year they did Come On, Get Happy.
Oh, okay. Right.
Right.
They sound so similar.
It's the same exact bed of music, just different words. Now, it's like the second chorus, let's say, of the same song.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And, of course, everyone knows this one.
Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up 3 very lovely girls. All of them had hair of gold, like their mother, the youngest one in curls.
We getting tired of this yet?
It's the story of a man named Brady.
Well, the only interesting thing about
I can't turn it down.
They were
let it go. You can talk over it.
Yet they were all alone.
Hopefully it ends now.
Shut this off.
There we go.
I think the first season they had some professional outside singers sing the theme song. And then eventually they got smart and had the actual actors sing it. So that's a little known fact.
But it kind of bothered me a little bit when all of a sudden they turned into they looked over their shoulder and they saw the Partridge Family as a family, and all of a sudden they wanted to be the Partridge Family, and they started singing, and they really weren't that good.
No, they weren't. They were terrible.
Yeah, but they did it a lot in the last couple of seasons. It was, and then they did a variety show after the Brady Bunch, just the Brady Kids or something or other. And it was, remember that? And
it's awful.
Oh, I just ran a chill up my spine. That was really, really bad.
Brady Kids.
So that's a little something of the behind the scenes. There's so many others, but I don't know. There's interesting stories. There's not so interesting stories. I just figured we would get the ball rolling a little bit to see if you could come up with any of your own, that you have stories from behind the scenes. You've done any research, any shows that you love, you want to write to us, and we could have you on the show, as we offered a little ways back. And you would have to write us at oldnewagain@AOL.com. oldnewagain@AOL.com, and we might even select you to be a co-host for the week if you have something, or even maybe this would be a section. There's not much. We've exhausted theme songs through the years. You can find all of our old shows.
I come up with many more.
Yeah.
We have an obscure TV sitcom show theme song that songs that people just don't recall, or were only aired for one episode. That would be really.
But would it'd have to be something you could recognize, though, even if it was just for one season? Like, you can't just play a theme song to a show that was aired 3 times.
Why not?
Can you? Well, I guess you could. Maybe if you feel like it. I mean, yeah, we could do it. Would anyone want to listen to that?
We want.
We could.
Well, as opposed to people hearing the All in the Family theme for the 8 millionth time.
I know. It's enough.
I'm
getting tired of it. So that's where we're at. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself a little bit here and there. You can have that little quiz. You could tape, our show, or play our show, the third section there, and quiz around the family dinner table and for theme songs.
Unless I answer too quickly.
Yeah.
That would ruin it for people.
Exactly. Or you might not care at all. That's the other thing. And if you don't care, then there's 350 other shows that we've done on Everything Old is New Again. And they might be something more you're liking. That would be fine. I could be talking about Wheeler and Woolsey if you want. You could be talking about. We could talk about which is the best Disney princess. We've done 007. We had taste testing on hot dogs and hamburgers. I think a cereal taste testing might be good. What do you think of that one, David Cohen?
That's
breakfast cereal.
Breakfast cereal. Yeah.
But we have to wait for this whole thing to end, and you can get back into the studio and we can spill the milk.
Let's wait till literally no one is eating breakfast cereal anymore, and then have a show on breakfast cereal.
Is breakfast cereal something people eat anymore? That's a good question. It's mostly bran flakes and that kind of stuff.
I don't think they are. No, yeah. I think a lot of those manufacturers of breakfast cereals are looking to reposition the product as more of an on-the-go kind of snacky thing.
Or like a quick dinner, I bet you could do for college kids, something like that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. What do you have for breakfast? What do you instead?
Lucky Charms. No. I typically don't eat breakfast.
There you go.
So there you go. I don't. If I do, it's oatmeal, something bland.
Right. All right. Speaking of bland,
bringing the show
to a screeching halt.
Conclusion.
Let's hope the next show that follows us is not bland, but we're ending on a bland note. But we'll be back in more fun, thrills, and adventure, interviews, celebrity interviews, all kinds of stuff, pop culture, and everything old is new again. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel. There's a Star Trek reference. These days, the news is full of teen suicide, drug and alcohol abuse, bullying. It's depressing and concerning, but there is hope. WWE Intercontinental Champion Mark Merrow.
Champion Choice is a live presentation that empowers students to make positive choices and live their best life. I teach students how to live a drug-free life, prevent bullying, avoid peer pressure, and keep negative people out of their lives. We are defined by our choices. There is hope.
To schedule a Champion of Choices presentation for your school or organization, visit thinkpaz.org. That's thinkpaz.org. You've been listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's pop culture entertainment talk show. Find us on the web at everythingoldisnewagain.biz. That's .biz.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.